In this tutorial, I'll show you the terrain layer, where you can configure settings such as the terrain size, level of detail, and other useful parameters related to the initial terrain that World Creator automatically generates when you start. Of course, it's also possible to create a terrain completely from scratch, or to import an existing terrain in the form of a height map or a mesh, and then continue working on it. I will explain exactly how that works in a later video. If you're wondering why my terrain looks much more impressive than yours, which might look something like this, just by comparison, that's because I've added a few filters specifically for this video to make the visuals look more punchy and appealing for the viewer. Don't worry though, I'll explain how to achieve this look in the next tutorial. Okay, now let's take a closer look at the terrain layer. The first setting is the seed. Using the plus and minus buttons, you can randomly generate new terrain shapes. With the randomize button, you generate a new random seed value, resulting in a new terrain. The save button allows you to store the currently selected seed. Using the database button, you can access all previously saved seed values. Sometimes you randomly generate a terrain shape that looks really great, and in those cases, it can be very useful to save the seed and reuse it later if needed. With the 1K, 2K, 4K and similar buttons, you can quickly set the terrain size to common resolutions that are typically preferred by game engines. Alternatively, you can manually define your own terrain size by entering custom values for width and length. The precision setting allows you to control the level of detail of the terrain. This value is combined with the terrain size and can result in higher height map resolutions. By default, the precision is set to 1 meter, which is more than sufficient for most game development use cases. For this tutorial, we'll ignore the settings Noise World Scale, Scale Textures with World, and Scale Objects with World. These settings will become important later on when we start creating more complex biomes and landscapes, but we'll cover that in detail in a future video. The seed value for the base noise adds an additional layer of noise on top of the terrain. This slightly modifies the surface while still preserving the overall structure of the terrain. Using general strength, you can increase or decrease the intensity of this added noise, resulting in either very smooth terrains or much more rugged and rocky landscapes. With the two offset sliders, you can also shift the surface noise slightly across the terrain. The sliders below control how strongly each individual resolution level affects the overall terrain. The first level corresponds to a 4x4 pixel map, the second to an 8x8 pixel map, and so on. The higher the level, the more high-frequency detail is applied to the terrain. Under Shape Settings, you can choose the base noise type the World Creator uses to generate the initial terrain. By default, Classic is selected, but you can also choose other options, such as Canyon. The parameters that follow are specific to the selected shape type, in this case, the Canyon settings. If you select Furrows, you'll notice that a different set of parameters becomes visible. Using High Detail Preview, you can inspect a specific area of your terrain at a much higher resolution. The World Creator viewport is limited to 4K detail in order to save performance. However, if you want to see how the terrain would look at higher detail levels, you can switch the mode to Set, downscale the preview area, fly closer to the surface, and then increase the precision to a higher detail level. Some parts of the terrain layer will change in World Creator version 2026.1, as we plan to consolidate several settings and, most importantly, automate the high detail preview workflow. We will, of course, create dedicated videos to explain all upcoming changes and keep you informed. And that's it for this tutorial. In the next, slightly longer tutorial, I'll show you the powerful filters that allow you to transform your terrain into something truly impressive.